Hey friend, have you ever sat in a room full of people and still felt like you didn't belong? Have you ever been the one they overlooked? Not because you weren't trying, but because you were you? Too quiet, too loud, too emotional. Not emotional enough. Too much of this. Not enough of that. This story is for anyone who's ever been made to feel like they were a mistake. For anyone who's ever looked in the mirror and wondered, will I ever be enough? Her name was Elena Ruiz. She grew up in a town where small dreams were safe and big dreams were dangerous. The kind of place where girls were taught to be agreeable, to smile more, speak less, and never ask for too much. Elena was born with fire in her chest and questions in her eyes. But people don't like questions, especially not from a brown-skinned girl with a single mom and hand-me-down shoes. In first grade, a teacher told her she was too ambitious for her own good. In seventh grade, she raised her hand one too many times and was labeled a know-it-all. By high school, her reputation preceded her. Too outspoken, too intense, too different. She didn't party, didn't wear the right clothes, didn't have the right last name. They didn't even call her by her name. They called her extra. Because in a world that begged girls to shrink, Elena dared to expand. She tried to dim her light just to make them more comfortable. In 10th grade, she stopped answering questions in class. In 11th, she quit debate team even though she was the best they had. Every time she was told to tone it down, she did. Until one day, she looked in the mirror and didn't recognize herself. Still, it wasn't enough. She wasn't invited to prom. She was never that girl. And when it came time for college, the counselors said she should be realistic. Not because of her grades, those were nearly perfect, but because of her zip code, her accent, her last name. You're smart, Elena, one counselor said, tapping her folder. But the Ivies aren't for kids like you. Maybe a state school. Maybe. That day, Elena walked home instead of taking the bus. It was raining and she let it. Each drop a syllable in the sentence life had been writing on her skin since she was born. Not enough. Not enough. Not enough. She could have believed them. She almost did. But one night, while helping her mom clean motel rooms after school, Elena overheard a woman on the phone in one of the rooms. Do you ever just wake up and decide you're done apologizing for who you are? Elena stopped scrubbing. It hit her like lightning. Decide. No one ever told her she could decide. Not her teachers. Not her classmates. Not the world. She always thought worth had to be earned, not chosen. But what if that was the lie? What if the truth was this? She was already enough. Not when she got accepted. Not when she made it. Not when they finally saw her, but right now, in this moment, with calluses on her hands and hope in her chest. That night, she stayed up writing college essays. She didn't write what they wanted to hear. She wrote what was real, about cleaning rooms with her mother, about being too much, about how shrinking never made her feel safe, only invisible. She wrote with the kind of voice no one could ignore, and then she sent them to 12 of the top colleges in the country. Each time she clicked submit, her hands shook, but her soul stood tall. Rejection letters started coming in. 1, then 2, then 6. Each one felt like a punch to the gut. Each one whispered, see, you reached too far. You aimed too high. But the thing about deciding you're enough is that rejection stops being proof of failure and starts being proof of your courage. On a Tuesday afternoon, while working her after-school shift at the diner, her phone buzzed. She ignored it. Then it buzzed again and again. She finally glanced down and saw a subject line she'd almost given up on. Congratulations, Elena Ruiz. Welcome to Harvard. She froze. The tray in her hand slipped. Her coworkers thought something was wrong, but something had finally gone right. Tears spilled down her face. Not because Harvard said yes, but because for the first time in her life, she had said yes to herself. The world was just catching up. Years later, Elena stood at the front of a college lecture hall, not as a student, but as a professor. She wore glasses now. Her voice was calm, but carried weight. She taught a course called Narratives of Belonging. The room was filled with students who looked like she once did, scared, brilliant, unheard. She told them this: "Someone once told me I'd never be enough, and for a long time I believed them. But the truth is, no one else gets to decide your worth. Not your school, not your boss, not your zip code, not your skin color, not your scars." She paused. "They don't define you. You do." Silence, then applause. And just before she left the room, a quiet girl in the back with tear-streaked cheeks whispered, "Thank you. I needed that." Elena smiled, because she knew this was why she never gave up. So if you've ever been told you're too much or not enough, if you've ever felt like you don't belong, this is your reminder. You don't need permission to take up space. You don't have to shrink to be loved. You don't have to prove your worth, only claim it. You're not a mistake. You are a story still unfolding. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to decide right now that you are enough, just as you are. No edits, no approval needed. Comment below what part of Elena's story stayed with you. And if you needed this today, don't forget to subscribe for more stories that heal, lift, and remind you of your worth.